Well, it's Sunday, mid-morning. Another very nice day, got to say. Not quite as windy as yesterday, but I'm in for some major belt tightening. I just discovered that my budget has been basically thrown for a six, and that's because I'm down $1 million. I missed out on the Vax lottery. It was won by a 25-year-old Chinese girl. She's been living in Australia for about 10 years and she's from Sydney, and she's the lucky recipient of the $1 million. So looks as though I'll just have to scrape together the money myself to go on my big trip in a few months' time. I have been looking at ways of basically cutting costs. I did discover I can actually save $50, all around almost $50 anyway. I can get pretty well an instantaneous check on my COVID status, so that I can check in for an international flight. You can do that at Sydney Airport. They have an express system. There's a company that does that for you, and it's accredited with all the airlines. So that will cost me $150. So that's going to save me around $50 compared to getting it done here. The other thing that's good about doing it that way is I'll fly down for my international flight to Sydney, and it just means if there's a delay in the international flight for whatever reason, of course the test will be more recent. So, because it's an early morning, I'm probably going to have to leave Cairns around 7 a.m. That'll be the only flight that's going to get me there in time, which will be about an hour before the check-in is opening in Sydney, which the express COVID tests take about an hour to get the results. Once I've got the results, I can front up to check-in counter and present that certificate as part of the deal, because anybody going to Thailand, of course, will need to show that. So I guess that's a little bit of good news. The other thing I also discovered was how much it will cost for health insurance. That's another thing you must get arranged now. In the past, you didn't have to travel with health insurance, but if you're going to Thailand these days, you need to have an insurance policy that covers you for COVID-19, and up to $50,000 US. So those are the stipulations for the policy. There was one I found online, and I got a quote today. I haven't actually put all the details in because I did actually make a claim with QBE when I was in Vietnam about 3 years ago. So presumably they'll ask me for claim history, so that might bump me out. Hopefully not. But you've got to obviously have full disclosure when you're going for these policies. But the actual price was actually quite surprising. It was way on the downside. So that was good news. It was actually worked out about $200 Australian, slightly more. It was 5,300 baht for 60 days, for 2 months. So that was better than I expected. So looks as though you can save a little bit of money. I personally I can't imagine how such a policy would be cheaper in Australia, because what I heard online was that actually you'll pay less if you get the policy locally here. But, well, for one thing, no one seems to be offering it. And secondly, going on that price regime, I'd say that's not true. $200 for 2 months overseas travel insurance is not bad. I mean, it's not hasn't got all the bells and whistles, but it's got enough. It certainly covers you for medical expenses and things like that. So that would suit me. So that worked out rather well. So that was good news. and probably needed, after I found out I missed out on the $1 million. I probably shouldn't have actually expected to win that. That's probably not a realistic expectation. Yesterday, my handyman came round and fixed the downpipe, so he was a lot faster at doing this job than the previous one with the door. That took a lot longer. Although he did charge me more, it cost me $160 to get the downpipe inserted in there. I don't think the guy who actually caused the problem in the first place, the tree lopper, he was ever going to show again, because I hadn't heard from him. So I needed to get it done anyway. It needs to be done before the wet season comes in, and the good news is too that my handyman, he's actually still intending to get the lock put in on the front gate, which is something I would like to get done as well. So he hasn't forgotten about me, and he did turn up. I contacted him on Friday, and he turned up yesterday. So, I can't fault him with his promptness. So he always kept me in the loop too. He was running half hour late and contacted me, so I'm very happy with that. He was quite reasonably priced for getting the door fixed. This was more than expected, but then again, it might be that the parts cost more, because he had to get the actual pipe and the connecting pipe as well, and materials to obviously put it together. He had to make 2 trips to the shops to get the stuff required. So, I think he certainly was very reasonably priced last time, and I think he's I don't think he's a rip-off merchant. The other thing to remember too is all building materials seem to have gone up in price because of the situation with COVID and what have you. Building materials are expensive these days, and it may be also part of that those plastic pipes might have gone up in price. Anything's possible these days, just the new normal. Who knows what's going on? Oh, by the way, I don't know if I made it clear, but I really prefer the audio expat, the Thai expat update show, which is just it's just an audio show, and I think they get most of their material from there's actually a Phuket newspaper which is online, so I can check that myself now, and I think the guy also checks the Bangkok Post. Which again I think there's definitely an online edition of that as well, but he puts it all together in quite a neat arrangement, so that's good. So I'm quite happy with that. I think I'd rather listen to his 5-day-a-week expat show than bother with the Tiger ever again, because 2 things about the Tiger is that it's a lot of ads, and there's a lot of wasted time. Tim Newton and Jay, who's the young Indian guy, who's I think he thinks of himself as a bit of a comedian. And he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer as far as I can see. And there's a lot of banter goes on between the two, which is inane banter in my opinion. And I just couldn't be bothered. I just want to get the facts. And the Irish guy, Kieran Mack, actually he calls himself Kieran Mack, MC, so I think it's just an abbreviation of his real surname. He wants to keep his anonymity. I presume he's also in Phuket because he has a specific Phuket news at the end of his audio updates. So that's actually quite good, so specific to where I'm going, so it's good information. It's interesting to compare what's happening in Thailand because Phuket, I've been looking every day. I'm looking at more YouTube videos that are posted there of how the nightlife's going, and it seems to be pretty well. It's not as big as it normally is, but it's not far off. The Bangalore Road scene is quite lively. There's quite a few bars that are open. Again, it all depends on the local provinces, what their rules are. In the case of Pattaya, it's dead because they're real hard asses there. And Hua Hin, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. I was just practicing that. Hua Hin, which is Huahin, Hin. That's the seaside town near, much closer to Bangkok than Phuket, on the in the bay of Bangkok. So it's actually, you can get a bus down there. I think it takes a couple of hours to get a bus from Bangkok down to there. It's a very popular resort, but it's pretty dead there at the moment. So yeah, there's this Australian guy called Johnny, originally from Queensland, and he's been living in Thailand for a long time, and he was doing a tour of the bar areas in Hua Hin in his latest video, and yeah, it's pretty quiet. They're one of the proprietors is smart enough to actually transform their bar into a restaurant. So now they can legitimately stay open because they've got a menu of food, and I presume if you want to have a drink, you probably have to order a meal. I'm not sure how stringent she is on that, but for all intents and purposes now, the former bar is operating as a restaurant and is open for business. And that seems like a fairly canny move by her, because a lot of the other people haven't cottoned on to that. Now, I would have thought it's not hard to offer, especially snack food. Anyone can do that. So I'm surprised more places haven't opened up and are using that loophole. It appears as if in Pattaya, I've never even been there, by the way, you can tell I can't even pronounce the name. I think they're much more stringent, the authorities, and for some reason they've come down really hard. Maybe that's because they don't want the old Pattaya to come back. They want to make it all family friendly and get rid of the bars. That is a possibility. But it's not like the demand for that type of entertainment will stop. Martin North, who I used to thought was actually a fairly sensible guy, he actually read out information about the latest climate conference they had overseas, which I think is the biggest hypocritical load of crap I've ever seen. All these world leaders jetting off, using lots of jet fuel, supposedly polluting the planet, causing more greenhouse gases to go to this stupid conference and achieving absolutely nothing. Martin North was actually quoting the UN as if it's a reliable authority, and he was saying how we have to take action now. He could have been Greta Thunberg. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I never thought that guy, I thought he was a much more sensible person, but he's pretty woke. And what was interesting is that the number of thumbs down on that particular video was the most I've seen on one of his videos. So, and I was one of those people. I was disgusted in what he said, and apparently I'm not the only one, which is good to see. So it's good to know that I'm not just a lonely voice there. There are other people who also think a lot of this stuff is total crap, and it's going to hurt our economy. And of course, you know who's going to do well out of it. It'll be the Chinese, who basically flaunt all these emissions targets. They're actually now using dirtier coal because they've decided that they can't stand Australia. We were supplying a much higher grade of coal, and now they've got some incredibly bad pollution in their country. So, you know, this is what I can't stand, is people like Boris Johnson in England. He's gone totally woke. These people are just basically being suckered in by the Chinese. That's where Trump was smart. He wasn't going to take that crap. He knew it was hurting America. But now you've got bloody Sleepy Sleazy Joe. We've got no hope. There's no leadership in the West anymore because Boris is useless as well. It's quite depressing, actually. The other thing that I heard about too was the real estate situation in China is in dire straits because the Chinese populace have very little options of investing. One of the only options they have is real estate. And apparently a lot of these supposed apartments that they've actually built aren't apartments you can live in. They're actually, it's just a building facade, and it looks like a building that's half completed. So you've got slabs of concrete and there's no amenities, there's no walls, there's no specific apartments that are being built. It's basically a scam. The whole thing is just, they're not places you can live in. There's no utilities, there's no physical apartment in there. You're buying a part of a building which is just basically a scam building. It's a front. I didn't know it was that bad, but apparently there's whole ghost towns that are built like that. Some of them are so structurally unsound that they have to basically demolish a lot of these towers because they're dangerous. And people are investing in them because they keep going up in price. But the trouble is that's stopped happening. Now they're actually going down in price. So the only inherent value these things had, they had no physical value like a property in Australia, which actually is something you can let out to people or you can live in yourself. It's not possible with these things. They're only apartments in someone's imagination. If you go out there, they're basically, it's a part of a structure that hasn't been completed. There's no walls, there's no doors, there's no windows. I couldn't believe it was so corrupt. It's a classic Ponzi scheme or pyramid scheme. And it's only got value because people perceive that if they buy into this, it will keep going up in price. So they're prepared not to have an asset that provides them with a return, an income stream, and a place they can't live in. They're happy to do that as long as they get an increase in the value. And the value is totally based on the fact that it's going to go up in value. If reality hits and it starts going down, it's going to go down really fast. And that's the situation at the moment in China. It's really frightening. I didn't know it was that bad, but look, this is only from one YouTube channel I got this information. But I mean, I know that there is definitely a problem with Chinese real estate, and it's their biggest asset class. They don't have shares, they don't have other forms of assets as such. It all goes into real estate, and it looks like a gigantic pyramid scheme set up that's about to collapse. So this could get really ugly. But anyway, I can leave you with that cheery economic news. Oh, I just wanted my $1 million. That's all I wanted. Geez, and asking too much to get vaxxed. I hope it was legitimately drawn, this vax lottery, but who knows. Anyway, it's over. I'll have to hang out for maybe see if I can make some money trading some shares. Not day trade, I might add, but on weekly or monthly trades. There are shares that I've noticed go up and down quite regularly, but again, if you buy shares just before the whole market collapses, you're in deep doo-doo, so there's always risks. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me thumbs up, thumbs down, comment on what the topics I brought up, and please consider subscribing. Have a great day.